Hi guys, welcome to today's lesson. So today we're going to be focusing on simplifying exponential expressions. So when we're looking at exponential expressions, we need to first map it out as to what exactly are we going to look at, right? Remember, the concept of exponents includes what we call laws, and it also includes some definitions there, right? And please, I understand that we do English and all. When I talk about definitions, it has nothing to do with something that comes from the Oxford Dictionary or anything like that. It's a mathematical definition. Then in terms of expressions, we are going to look at them in two options. One, when we are multiplying and dividing, and then the other option will be when we are adding and subtracting as well. Now, the keywords for this lesson will be mainly the concept of an exponent and also the concept of a prime base, right, or prime basis. Remember that prime numbers will be a number that has two factors, one in itself, right? So our basis, we're going to try by all means to make them prime numbers at all times. That's the main thing that we need to do when it comes to exponents. Now, the concept of an exponent will be the number of times a number, which is the base, is multiplied by itself, right? So in this instance, what this means is if I have a to the exponent of n, this is the same as a being the base and then n being the exponent. Now with this, what I have here, I'm going to be using a term that is power, right? And when I say power, I don't really mean the exponent itself, because I know at times we use the word power to mean exponent. When I say power, I'm talking about the whole thing, a to the exponent of n. The whole term itself is called a power. So when I say multiply one power with another power and the bases are the same, I'm talking about the whole term, not necessarily just the exponent. So please just do bear with me there. And remember, as we're going through this lesson, when I say power, I'm talking about the whole term, not necessarily the exponent. Now, also, with the laws of exponents, as I said, we're going to divide them into their respective operations. One will be when we are multiplying powers of the same base, right? So this is one power, and this will be another power. They have the same base, which is a, and the law will then say that we need to add the exponents. What that means is, please don't then make the misconception of thinking that you need both the bases when you're doing this, right? No matter how many bases you have, if it's a to the m multiplied by a to the n multiplied by a to the b, like this. No matter how many bases you have, as long as they are all the same, you will maintain one and then add all the exponents of all the bases that you have. This will therefore be m plus n plus the b there. And that's the first law that has to do with multiplication. Now, when we are dividing powers of the same base, we therefore need to do the opposite of addition, which is subtraction, because division is like opposite of multiplication. And here I just use a division line, but you know it can also be a to the exponent of m divided by a to the exponent of n. They mean one and the same thing, right? Even with this, it doesn't matter how many powers you have that you are dividing and all. As long as they all have the same base, you then subtract the exponents. Now, one of the other misconceptions that I've realized is when we have maybe a to the exponent of m divided by a to the exponent of negative n, right? And then a person will then say this is the same as a to the exponent of m minus n. This will be a lie. This is not correct. Why is it not correct? It's because you are subtracting the exponent. So it means it needs to therefore be the m minus the negative n, because the n goes with its own negative. So it will be more like you are adding, but in actual fact, you are subtracting a negative term, right, which is that exponent at that time. So please do also pay attention to that. Now, we also have the laws of exponents that have to do with brackets, and there's three of them, right? When we raise one exponent to another exponent, so it's like m raised to that n there. So the law will say we need to multiply those two exponents. And we multiply them again because of the fact that you know that a bracket goes with the operation multiplication, right? So therefore, m multiplied by n will be mn. Just on that mn again, going back to this one, when you are adding these exponents, don't make the mistake of saying the answer for m plus n will be mn. These are unlike terms, so you can't add them. Only when you are multiplying can they then be together. And then the other one will be if I have two terms that are separated by a multiplication inside the brackets, as you can see, a and b, and it is raised to one exponent. You then use the distributive law to distribute that exponent to all the exponents that are inside those brackets, right? And with this one, if we don't have an exponent, you know it's not 0, it's 1, right? Because anything raised to the exponent of 0 will then be something else. It's definitely not what we have here. So this is the same as a to the exponent of m multiplied by b to the exponent of m. And then the last one will be if I have a fraction inside the bracket raised to one exponent, you also use the distributive law to distribute that to the exponent of the numerator and the exponent of the denominator. Now, when it comes to the definitions of exponents, the main definition that you need to know is if I have any number raised to the exponent of 0, it will forever be 1. So I give you a bracket and I give you all numbers there, 10,000 of them, and then I raise this to the exponent of 0. The final answer will just be 1. It doesn't matter what you have inside there. And then also changing the negative exponent to be a positive exponent. Why do we do this? Is because we know that most of the time the answer is always required to be left with a positive exponent. So I hope that makes sense, guys. So remember, the exponent will be how many times a base is multiplied by itself. There's some laws that we use in order to simplify that. It will be the law of multiplication, the law of division. They normally call it the product and the quotient law. And also it will then be the law of brackets that we just did now. From me to you, let's just take a quick ad break, just refresh, take a walk a bit, and then we'll be back so that we can do a bit of questions.